Dear friends, in today's class, we have to discuss the another derived data type, that is structure. Before discussing structure, let me to clarify what is the difference between the array and structure. Array is a derived data type, structure is also derived data type. Because without primary data type, array and structure cannot be formed. Array stores element in consecutive memory, structure also stores the element in consecutive memory. Array hold similar data item, the structure hold dissimilar data item. Means in array, if you declare array integer, it will only store integer. If you declare array character, it will only store the character. But in structure, within which you can store all kind of element like integer, character, float. Means we can say if we want to store the record type of data, record means various kind of data. For example, student information, roll number, name, address, telephone number, email address, it's a record of a student. For record type of data which contains dissimilar data item, we can take the help of your structure. What is the syntactical structure of structure? Struct is the keyword as written. Name is a identifier. What can we give the name, that is upon you. And the data type element which represent the member of the structure or element of the structure means int is the data type, id is the element, float is the data type, mark is the element, car is the data type, name is the element. Means this is the structure block. And what is the requirement of structure variable? Without structure variable, you cannot enter to the structure. Means if we want to interact with the id, we can write s1.id. If you want to interact with mark, we can write s1.mark. If we want to interact with the name, we can write s1.name. Dot is a membership operator which acts as a bridge between the structure variable and the structure element. If you do not declare the structure variable here, then another way you can declare struct name followed by the variable name. There are the two options. You can declare the structure variable here, or you can declare the variable struct name followed by variable. Means here if it is student, you can write struct student followed by the variable name is s1. Either of the way it can be represented. Here the memory map. There are the various memory map we have given. This is one of the memory map which suggests that how the structure can consume in the memory. Suppose here integer. In a turbo editor, basically integer takes 2 byte, but in a online dev or online compiler, one integer takes the 4 byte. If integer takes the 4 byte, then first 4 byte of space in structure is for integer. Next, suppose declare character name of 10, means each character takes 1 byte, name takes 10 bytes, means next 10 bytes will be what? The character. As float takes 4 byte, next 4 byte is belongs to float. Means these elements consume in contiguous memory. What is 1000? If supposed to be the address is started with 1000, 4 bytes means next location is 1004, where from the character name will store. Because as name consumes 10 bytes in memory, then after 10 bytes, that is, if integer ended with 1004 and the character ended with 1014, then the float ended with 4 bytes next, that is 1018. From this we can take the conclusion as structure elements store in consecutive memory. Here it is written size of int, size of car, size of a float. Accordingly, if entire record size will be consumed, that will be calculated the size of int, the size of car, the size of a float. If you want to store the element in a structure, in various way we can store, we can initialize or we can input. First, we input the value. How you declare? Struct name is ABC, integer role, character name, float M, means which represent dissimilar data item can be stored in a structure as a record type. To interact with the structure, we take the structure variable is P. How you have to store the element? P.R. P is the structure variable, dot is the membership operator, and R is the element within the structure equal to 100. We are assigning here, we can also scanf. P dot name as character is A is placed as a single quote. P dot M as float, we can write is the float representation. And if you want to assess the similar way, we can assess for integer percentile D, for character percentile C, for float percentile F. We have to assess it as we store P dot R, P dot N and P dot M. If we run the program, we can get 100, A, 12.8 respectively. Let's move to online compiler and run this program. I am moving to the online compiler. If this program is previously there, you just copy it, otherwise you have to write it. I have stored that program. Let me to the run that program. Move to online compiler and run it. If I want to run this program, the program will be run and you will be finding the output as which representation I made in PowerPoint. That code is written here and the result is outputted to the user screen. You move to the second initialization technique. You have to write a program to initialize the structure element, then display. Again, you have declared a structure, name of the structure is a person, then the element belongs to name, age and gender, and you know, and we have discussed the any variable structure or array or general primitive data type can be declared local or global. If it is declared before the main function, that is known as your global. If this structure is declared within the main function, that is what? The local. You can declare either of the way. Then how you have to initialize? Struct person, the variable name is a person, means struct name, the structure variable name. You can initialize within the curly bracket, means first is John, it is John. 25 is the integer, that is in age. 0 is the gender, that is your character, means in the sequence character, integer and character. 3 element store, one is string, one is integer and one is a character. You can initialize in this way. If you want to access, similarly we can access, that is person.name, person.age, person.gender. Why it is percentile s is taken? Because it is a string type set of character, formatted string is percentile s. Why percentile d is taken? That is your integer type as age. Why the percentile d is again taken? The answer is what? Because we have stored the gender as the male, or we can take as the percentile C2, means name is a string type, person is a person's age is integer type and person genders as the character type, and you can also place the subscript value here. Otherwise, in a single variable you can take a single character, or for the subscript value you can set the set of characters. If we want to run this program, then again you move to your online compiler. If you are having that program, just copy it and try to run it. Then move to your online compiler, copy this set of code and run it. And if I run this program, the result will be outed accordingly. And if you want to say why the gender is 0, because here you have taken gender equal to 0, means if it is a character, as male or female, you can take male as 1, female is 0, or male is 0, or female is 1. You can take also, suppose F, F for female. Then what you have to do? You have to give is the, as per character, the format string is used as a percentile C. Format string will be used as a percentile C. If you run now, the output will be what? The F, because F is store. If you want to store male or female, then you can give the subscript value. Then you can write as a female, and you can write here as a percentile S. Then the result will be what? You write here female as a string, you have to place within the double quote, and then you can run it. Now the result will be female. and if anything else you write excluding that, because incorrect formatting specifier will match and the result will not output. Hence, the record type of data is stored and represented. In this way, in this session, we discussed the structure, how you have to initialize the structure, how you have to store the value in the structure, or we can input the value in the structure. By the help of your scanf concept, we can represent it by some of the example in the latter part. I think today's session is understandable by you. If you like this video, please like it. Those have not subscribed, kindly subscribe the video. Having any comment, kindly make the comment so that we try to provide you the best solution out of several. And in the next class, we have to discuss the array of structures. Thank you. See you in the next class.